Let's return to what I was talking about, this future of energy and what our energy mix looks like right up till net zero in 2050 and beyond. Joining me is the Victorian Shadow Energy Minister, David Davis, who is in Perth and at that conference this week. I thought it was a really interesting discussion yesterday. And David, I thought particularly pointed at Victoria.
Laura, you're right. About 3,000 people gathering at a major energy conference. The lack of presence of Victorians, government Victorians, is notable. And I think people were very pointed about Victoria. Victoria is the outlier when it comes to energy policy. Our gas strategy, the gas substitution plan, is a plan to ban gas. It's explicitly the direction, and completely and utterly at odds with the federal strategy released just a week ago. I think you obviously chaired the panel on keeping the lights on is energy security taken for granted, and I think with AEMO's comments yesterday that we really have some real energy security issues. I think the panel highlighted both the short-term risks but also the very long-term risks. The difficulty, of course, for Victoria is 10 years of a Labor government now. They haven't brought on new gas supplies. In fact, they've gone the other way. And one very, very clear message out of the conference is to get to that zero in 2050 with, significant renewables. Obviously, you're going to have the firming and peaking capacity that gas provides, and that gas has got a very important part of that electricity generation mix.
In fact, Victoria seems completely at odds with their federal counterparts now. They've got a constitutional ban on new gas fracking.
On fracking.
Yeah, on fracking. The federal government says gas is going to be a critical component beyond 2050.
They do, and we agree that the gas is going to be critical. You can't rely on the intermittent nature of renewables without pairing it with the fill-in need that gas can provide at times when there isn't wind and there isn't solar. You obviously need batteries, and yes, we get all of that, but it's clear that the volume of firming that's needed is much greater. So they're completely and utterly at odds. And over 10 years, they haven't brought on any new gas, and we need onshore conventional drilling for gas to bring new supply into Victoria. We're going to need it. There's no doubt we're going to need it.
I think what I got out of yesterday's conference, and perhaps you did as well, David, is that there needs to be a more sane conversation about what our energy mix looks like, even when we do reach net zero in 2050. Gas is going to be a critical component.
Still part of it.
I think a lot of people don't realise that even green hydrogen requires gas. The government's Future Made in Australia plan requires gas. It's wanting to ramp up the exportation and use of critical minerals requires gas. Not everything can be done by wind and solar. And if we are going to reach net zero, it is net zero. So those other fossil fuels are offset by other things.
No question that gas has got a future beyond 2050 as well. There are industries that there is still no reasonable solution in terms of the energy mix that can be used, and gas is going to be that critical fuel. So we need to bring on supply. In Victoria, there's been this de facto ban, not just on fracking, but on conventional gas as well. And the gas substitution plan is absolutely at odds with the federal paper released the other day. I mean, the gas substitution plan seeks to ban gas and do it quite quickly. Already in Victoria, gas connections are banned on new estates. Already in Victoria, the state government has banned rebates on gas appliances, even replacement appliances. So we, in government, we would remove that gas substitution plan and develop a plan that is much more in sympathy with the clear need for gas into the future.
Constitutional ban on fracking as well? Go to a referendum?
Well, I'm living in the real world here. To unwind the ban, you need a supermajority, and I don't see any party in the Victorian upper house, where I work, where I'm elected to, is unlikely to get a majority, let alone a supermajority. So, it's actually
Could you go to a referendum though? Is that how it works? Is that the other option?
No. It just requires
just supermajority.
60%.
Wow.
So you've got to have 24 out of 40. So it's actually, it's sort of out there. And look, they're wanting to actually put into the Constitution, entrench in the Constitution, the SEC. Now, a national audience won't know the old State Electricity Commission in Victoria, but the state government has created a new company, a government-owned company, that it wants to entrench in the Constitution. This is, of course, weird and madness. We're worried about the way they'll behave with that SEC. Will they observe competitive neutrality rules, or will they force all government agencies to suddenly go to this government company? So this idea of entrenching everything in the Constitution, it's a bit out of control with this government.
Well, good to talk to you all the way over there in Perth. Safe flight home. We'll speak to you soon.
And well done on your chairing.
Thanks, David.